and good evening, everyone. I'm Malarvili Ravindran, your host for today's session. I'm delighted to welcome you all to episode 13 of our Toastmasters session. Today, we will discuss the summary of Dr. Pal's medical podcast. Note for the audience, participants have been allocated podcast episodes prior to the session, and each participant will be presenting a summary of their assigned podcast along with their own thoughts and ideas on the topic. Now, with this energy, I would like to invite you all to dive into the session. Medicine and engineering are two distinct fields, yet in today's world, they work together to provide the best solution for the people. Many advanced treatments are made possible through engineering development, saving countless lives. The technology boom haven't been limited for the medical alone. Every sector now depending on technology. It's encouraging to see impossible becoming possible. However, the environment, nature, and health, which are crucial to human life, are being attempted and caused numerous issues in our modern lifestyle. Now, I would like to call Agustin to facilitate the session on the given topic.
Thank you, Mala, for the opportunity. I went through an episode of Dr. Paul, and he had an episode or a podcast with dietitian Roshni, and she's from Bangalore. And in the podcast, they talk about diabetes, type 1, type 2, and why it happens, how people can overcome diabetes type 2 and become normal, and sleep patterns, lifestyle. All these aspects are discussed in the podcast. So, beginning, they talk about diabetes type 2. Type 1 is really difficult to handle, and people have to really need to undergo the medical advices, and they have to follow the prescribed medicines for a long time to get over it. And sometimes it's not possible to get over because of the lifestyle circumstances. But type 2 is actually curable, and people can get out of it. And why they get type 2 diabetes? Type 2 diabetes is very normal, but it happens when extra fat accumulates in the body. She explains very clearly. Uh, it's a mechanism. Like the food we consume, it releases glucose to blood, and the blood in the glucose is supposed to be consumed by the muscle cells. So if the muscle cells don't take that glucose, then what happens? The blood sugar goes high. Why muscles don't take that the glucose? Because muscle cells have grown the fat. So when there is a fat in the muscle cells, they will not be able to consume that glucose, because muscle cells will be having, they there is a role of insulin as well. Insulin will play a role, and when this fat is more in the muscle cells, the insulin will not be able to play its role, and that's why that type 2 diabetes happens. And what happens is the people will start losing the weight in, I don't know, it happens within no time, and people will experience different kind of symptoms, and they'll be advised to go through proper kind of diet, and they will have to avoid the carbohydrate food for some days, but not entirely, but for few days to follow. And once they get back to normalcy, they can start eating regularly as they used to eat. But in that time period where that excessive fat is there in the muscle cells, that has to be released, that has to be burnt, and that has to become normal. For that time period, people have to be careful and watchful. Once they get rid of that muscle cell fat, they also call it like intramicellular fat. So this fat has to be burnt, or this has to be taken. Once that is completely taken care of, then people will return to normalcy. They can take care of their health. This is how type 2 diabetes can be gotten rid of. So people will just have to pay attention in that duration to get over it. Next is exercise. So how people have to do exercise. Some people go for extreme exercise, but actually normal walking or running is also sufficient for you to keep fit and keep your diabetes under control. So that is normal exercise, running or walking. Even they say have meal before 3 hours going to bed, so that you can have sufficient time for walking and digesting. Once the digestive process is done, you can go to bed, so you will get good sleep, and your body will be fit, and your blood sugar also will be balanced. Going further, they also talk about oil consumption in Indian households. Indian foods are most often oil laden, like there is too much oil in the food that is causing, and they advise for plant-based whole food, and only 20% of or animal-based of food can be consumed, but 80% of the food should be plant-based and whole food, not the uh, what they call processed food, not the processed one, but unprocessed. That will be helpful in keeping the fitness. Next is sleep pattern. When nowadays people are having really bad time in sleeping, people go to bed 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, sometimes at 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and because of excessive use of the screen and mobile, and there are a lot many other activities, because of that people are not able to get sleep in the night. Because imagine people are working in the night shift and suddenly their shift changes to daytime, right? So then sleep patterns really gets disturbed. That is in the working class. But what are they're suggesting for the best use of humanity? But in the every stage of class of life, it's not possible, because some people are not having that luxury to sleep at night. Some people have to go and work. So that's the very bad situation. But night is meant for sleeping. People have to make sure that they sleep well. And they also insist that bedroom should be used for sleeping purpose, not for working or eating purpose. And it should be used for sleep. And if people are not getting sleep, they should make sure that they should create a pattern. They should go to bed early and make it force themselves to sleep. And they practice it for a few days. The sleep becomes normal. Afterwards, they can sleep without having any hassle. And next is the diet and lifestyle. People have to maintain the diet and make sure that what they consume, what is good for the body, what is not good for the body. They should make sure of that and consume in a right quantity, not excessive eating. And also sometimes people have, let me eat it 2 days this much. We will be monitoring, but sometimes let me eat only today, only today, only today. That becomes like a regular pattern, and we start consuming it without observing what is happening with our body. And long run, we know that we have accumulated something in our body, then it's going to cause harm. So even moderation should be taken care, and the lifestyle should be taken care. So we need to have a lifestyle. That's what the podcast all about. But when you really see from the perspective of the working people, that is a luxury which they can't afford. That is really meant for the people, those who have their own income, they have free lifestyle, then they can actually go for it. The people those who are stuck with the job patterns, I think for them it is really hell. And that's why the middle class people are becoming victim to diabetes, because they're not able to balance their food, sleep, work. Everything is really tossed. With that, I complete.
Thank you, Augustine, for your valuable insight and maintaining their health and also coming up with the points what the normal people are facing. Now, I would like to call Pooja to enlighten us with her topic.
Thank you, ma'am. So before I move into the podcast, I think I've been following Dr. Pal, so I'd like to give a small intro about him as well. Dr. Pal is actually Dr. Pal Manikam, professionally called as Dr. Pal and fondly called as Gutman by kids. He, alongside his, profession, he also is a YouTuber who comes and, tells more about gut health because that is his field of expertise. So that is his medical expertise, where he talks about gut health and he talks about moderation, portion control, how to calculate the calories in food, and how do you maintain the right amount of carbohydrates, protein, and fiber. And he discusses. He also takes us on his trips through his YouTube vlogs and videos, and even there, whatever food is available, he will check with that and he'll give us an insight. So even if people are traveling or if they're in a place where they don't get regular food, whatever is staples from there, how do you do it? So that is one specialty of Dr. Palmanikam. And recently, he has started podcasts, contacting other doctors and others who are professionals in the similar fields, and they have an very interesting or engaging conversation between them. And thank you, ma'am, for one such interesting podcast. And yes, I would like to start with dancing through life literally. Those who think they have no time for bodily exercise will sooner or later have to find time for illness, says Edward Stanley. All right, folks, let's talk fitness. Specifically, dancing your way to health. Yes, you heard me right. Not suffering on a treadmill, not doing 1,000 push ups, but shaking that groove thing. And if you're wondering, is dancing actually a legit workout? The answer is yes. And it can do a lot more than just help you avoid tripping over your own feet at weddings. Let's dive into the details with Deepthi, who's a dancer and fitness mentor who has some wisdom to drop. This podcast happens in multiple segments. So, the first segment, the PCOS and dance connection. So, here's the deal, many women struggle with PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, and irregular periods, stress, lifestyle, juggling work, home, and family, and whatever random existential crisis hits at 2 a.m. It takes a toll. And guess what? Dancing is here to save the day. Regular movement, especially dance workouts, can help normalize periods, alleviate symptoms, and balance hormones. Plus, moving around reduces stress, improves mood, and helps prevent that I just need to lay in bed forever feeling. Basically, dance is equal to fitness disguised as fun. In the second segment, making workouts fun. Now, we all know the real struggle of workouts isn't the actual movement, it's the motivation. No one wants to wake up and say, "Yay, time for squats." That's why Deepthi recommends making workouts fun and joyful. Her trick is zone 2 cardio, which sounds fancy, but it basically means a heart rate at 50 to 70% of its maximum. Strength training plus yoga inspired movements. Yes, we are adding the occasional stretch to the ceiling moment. Compound exercises, which engage multiple muscle groups. Translation, get the most bang for your buck. Put this all in a dance routine. Boom, you have a workout that doesn't feel like a chore. The third segment, getting started safely. Thinking about giving it a shot? Here's a pro tip. Start slow. Not everyone needs to break into full Bollywood choreography on day one. 10 to 15 minutes daily is enough to get hooked. Wear good shoes. We need happy feet, not sprained ankles. Listen to your body. No pushing through pain like a movie montage. The goal here isn't just weight loss, it's about feeling good, staying healthy, and staying consistent. The fourth segment, community and inclusivity. And here's something cool, dance workouts aren't just for women, men can jump in too. Yes, that includes dads who still think breakdancing is trendy. Plus, dancing as a family, major bonding points. Even kids can join in, making workouts a fun shared activity instead of solo suffering. Keeping up motivation is easier when you have a community cheering on you. Want to stay accountable? Tell someone about your goals. Segment 5, real stories, real wins. People have seen real health transformations just by dancing consistently. PCOS symptoms improving, high blood pressure decreasing, and even medications getting reduced. So, yes, it's more than just moving to music, it's a lifestyle shift that makes you stronger, happier, and ready to take on life. So, what's stopping you? Toss on your favorite playlist, grab a comfy pair of shoes, and dance like no one's watching. Or better yet, make them watch and join in. And remember, your body doesn't need punishment, it needs celebration. And I would like to share one such experience from my life. When I was studying for my engineering, there was one day where I had to reach home a little early after my classes. I think I had my internals going on, so I just finished the internals and I had to come home soon. While I was getting down the stairs, I sprained my leg. I didn't realize I missed 2 to 3 steps and I just landed, spraining my ankle. And I found it very difficult to walk. Somehow I managed and reached home and I didn't tell anybody. And the next 2 to 3 days, I struggled with the pain. Somehow I tried to manage everyday activities and college and everything. After that, I had dance class. So I had been to dance class, and my thing from childhood, whenever I am in the class or I'm in front of my guru, I always have a thing that I forget the rest of it. I make sure I'm completely available there. So I didn't compromise on anything. I didn't even tell my guru that I sprained my leg or I'm hurt or anything. I just went on to dance. Yeah, that day while dancing, I found it a little hard, but I also heard some small crack here and there near the ankle. And I came back home and I slept. The next day, the pain was gone completely. So this was one such experience of dance that helped me in my life. And I think after that, the sprain was completely gone. It recovered completely. So this is another real life experience that I have, and I hold it something. It's very close to me.
Thank you, Pooja. Your thoughts will help many women understand how to take care of themselves. With this, health is wealth is just not a proverb. When you are healthy, you can travel around the world, you can do what you like, heal your soul, and can achieve many successes. For this, we need to spend sufficient time in our everyday choosing and prioritizing healthy lifestyle. I hope all audience enjoyed this insightful sessions with takeaways to initiate a healthy lifestyle. Once again, thank you participants for your valuable insights and effort, and thank you audience for watching our session. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, bye. We are logging off for the day.